G'day, it's Robbie again. Well, back on the 2nd of March this year, which is, what's that, about 9 months ago, I put up a YouTube video on rebar. Can you machine rebar in a metal lathe? And, well, it's sort of got a life of its own. There's been a lot of comments on it, way more than I expected, and some of the comments have been quite interesting to say the least. You know, everything from sort of anything made of rebar is the devil's metal. It'll instantly turn to rust. It could even be radioactive and, you know, glow in the dark maybe. I mean, there were some amazing comments. Okay, that's good. It's good to get the comments, and some of the discussion got a bit heated, but, you know, I let it go. People can say what they like as long as they're not, you know, abusing each other. So, we'll look at some of these things, and, well, I can't look at radioactivity. I haven't got a Geiger counter. But I will look at rust. And I mean, and here's some good old Australian rust. Look at that. That's a gear out of an old header that I've got some oil in there, penetrating to try and get the grub screws out, and I'm going to actually use this to probably make piston rings. I want to do a video showing you how to make piston rings, but it's just a matter of getting around to it and having some suitable material. So there's that, and maybe this could be a candidate. It's got to be good quality cast iron. Anyway, that's down the track. I'm diverging. So we're going to look at the rust, you know. I mean, the comments are like, you know, if you make something out of rebar, it's going to instantly rust, basically. It's the worst metal for rust. Well, is it or isn't it? I don't know. I mean, with rebar, they deliberately let it rust so that the cement will actually grip better. It basically gives it a better bonding surface. So, you know, basically on construction sites, they will just let it rust. It's actually a good thing, but it's only light rust. So, let's have a look at the rebar that I cut 9 months ago and just see what it looks like now. Okay, well, here's that tin I showed you in the video that I got the rebar out of, and it's just all odds and sods. There's all sorts of steel, different grades. I mean, that would be quite high grade steel. I mean, anything you machine, you have to oil it, otherwise it will tend to rust, but okay. There's some high grade steel from a steering shaft, so that'd be quite good stuff. Here's the crankshaft out of a 2-stroke motor. None of these have got oil on them, they've all been washed down. You see a little bit of light rusting there maybe, you know, just a tiny bit. Here's our rebar that I cut and machined, and that's the end of it. So that's been sitting under the bench with all the other steel. You see why I buffed it. And the end looks no rustier than any other piece of steel in here. So just atmospheric moisture. I mean, it's down near a concrete floor, so there's a certain amount of moisture. Yeah, so it hasn't rusted any more than anything else in that time. Okay, let's give it a real test. Let's machine it back. And I'll get some known steel. I've got some known mild steel round stock. I'll slice a piece off. We'll put it in a bucket of water, and then we'll check it every couple of days and just see which one rusts the fastest, which one rusts the most. I think it's not going to make much difference. I think they'll rust pretty much uniformly, and I think the whole rust, you know, it's going to instantly turn to rust thing is a total lot of bullshit myself, but anyway, we'll try it and see. I've just got it on coarse feed, I'm just ripping it off. This is where quick change gearbox is good, because you can just tear into it and finish off later. Okay, put it on a medium feed now and clean it up a bit. This is known mild steel. It was bought out as mild steel and used stock. and so that's your plain garden variety steel, really. Better give it a bit more of it. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll slice off a plug of that with the metal cutting bandsaw, and then we'll move on to the plain black hot rolled steel that I've got some rod on the bench there somewhere. Right, this is plain hot roll black metal, black steel. You can see the seam down the side of it. I've rolled it, and I'll just machine some of this back. Okay, that'll do. So we've got the 3 pieces of steel. I've done it, as I said, I've done a fairly rough, just a plain finish. It's not a finishing cut at all. So they're a little bit furry, so if they're going to rust, they'll rust. And what I'll do is I'll prepare 3 samples. I'll wash them off in acetone, and then we'll see what happens. Now I'll wash the parts off in petrol, benzene, last I'll use the acetone, and I'll make sure I wear nitrite gloves so there's no chance of any oil coming off of my fingers. Clean tin. Clean bit of paper. Okay, so they're degreased, ready to go in the container of plain tap water, and then we'll just see how they shape up. I've deliberately left a bit of the end on all of these, so you can see which one's which. They're rusty, so that's going to promote rust anyway. So but I'll put it in a plastic container which is neutral, and we'll see what happens. There they are in some plain tap water, just natural minerals and bit of fluoride. So we'll now leave it for a while and see what happens. You can also see already that it's this rust starting to come off the edges. I see it. So yeah, I reckon in, well, maybe even 12 hours it'll be interesting to see what there is, but we'll give it 24 anyway and just see which of these performs the worst, and whether the rebar rusts like the devil is true or false. Well, after 7 hours you can see what they look like, and there's really not much difference. The rebar certainly hasn't rusted any more than the mild steel or the black hot rolled steel. In fact, I think it's probably slightly less rusty if you look at that. So that's 7 hours. So we'll leave it, and I'll have a look tomorrow morning. That'll be about 13 hours, and yeah, see how it goes. Well, here we are 24 hours later, and I've got to say it all looks like it's rusted pretty much the same. I'll take it out and we'll wipe it off and see what's underneath. Here's the end result. Here's the 3 pieces of steel. After standing for half an hour or so, you can see a little bit of staining on here, not much. That's the mild steel. Here's the hot rolled. Same thing, a little bit of staining, but not much. I just wiped them off with a rag. I didn't scrub them or anything. And here's the rebar, which is basically the same. Actually, it's probably less rusty than the others, slightly. Which is what I expected, because I mean this is a higher carbon steel, and if anything it's going to rust less, and higher carbon generally does, you know, perform a bit better. But they're basically 3 very similar metals in a similar metal range, low to medium quality. It's what you'd expect. And I mean, when people dish up this drivel on forums, you know, I just shake my head. I mean, they drag these hoary old chestnuts out and bandy them around. It just, it's pretty poor, really. But some people can't help themselves. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, down the track I might do a bit more on rebar, some of the things you can try with it. And you know, I'm not saying rush out and use rebar, but I'm just saying that really just some of the stuff that's said about it I think is, you know, beyond belief. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Cheers.